about real estate?
Well, I like a lot about real estate, but we're going to answer that question today with our amazing friend, Bill Ford.
Well, he's not just my best friend. He's also my husband.
Well, welcome to the podcast today, Bill. We're super excited to hear the questions that you have for us, and just so glad that you and Danielle have come into my life.
Thanks, Stacy. Thanks, Danielle, for having me. I've been watching you two a little bit from the outside. I've been involved, again, from the outside, and I'm glad to ask questions because I have some questions, and I think the audience is excited to really get to know you, so thank you for having me.
I'm a little nervous.
I bet you are.
He knows me better than anybody,
That's
so
right.
let's see.
Well, when Bill and Danielle came into my life, it was a God thing. It was we've only known each other for a period of about 4 months, and Danielle and I have spent weekly time together on just structuring this podcast to make sure that our message was clear. And I think today I was a little bit hesitant on bringing Bill because Bill and I are a lot alike, so I can just imagine what he's thinking right now. But I was really glad to hear that he was really going to get to our passion and really get to who we really are. So, Bill, fire away.
All right, good. I'm excited. So, Stacy, I want to start just kind of general. I want to ask you, what do you like about real estate?
People. I love people. I have learned later in my career that I'm really good at connecting people. And I love seeing people grow. I love to encourage people. I love to, that's why I have a team of 60 is when I bought the company from my family, it was a total of 20 agents and we've grown it to 60 agents. And I love my new agents. I love agents that are brand new. It's so much fun to watch them grow, and I just that's my passion is to really watch people grow.
So I see that about you, Stacy. I see that you're an encourager, that you like people, you like being around people, and that's great for us to watch you model that. And Danielle, what in the world got into you about this business? Why did you get into real estate?
Well, I guess the spark came when we were talking about end of life. How do we want to finish? We want to finish well. And we looked over our life, and the one thing that we really did well was our real estate investments. You are really responsible for that, but we started investing in real estate, and I enjoyed that part of the investing and the numbers. And after we'd done that for about a year, I guess, I thought, well, I'm going to get my real estate license because then I can help us with our own transactions. But being the learner that I am, I thought, well, I'm not just going to do this in a closet or in the dark. I don't want to be a secret agent. So that's kind of what spurred me on to do it for reals.
To help other people.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what you did, and you're doing great at that. And you're taking all of the things that you've learned over the years from accounting and marketing and banking, and you're applying that to the business. And I think that's great. So I saw you guys for the first time get together and just getting to know each other. And I was just sitting there, and you guys were talking about your kids and your grandkids. And then you start talking about church and your faith and all those things. And it was kind of like an explosion of, all this chemistry that the two of you had. So, Danielle, you went to Stacy and said, we ought to start a podcast. Where did that come from? Where did that come from?
Well, because we have a lot to say. We have very different experiences, but I feel like the Lord's used everything from both of our pasts to bring us to this point, and we obviously know that God brought us together.
Yes.
And in that, I thought, well, we need to encourage other agents.
Yes.
In this industry. I think that's one thing we lack is really being encouraged. Mm-hmm. It's a long road, and every transaction can just wipe you out. And if you don't have that cheerleader or that encouragement, it makes it even tougher. Mm-hmm.
I think that's right. I think it is. It's a tough business, and it's not just a business for the two of you. And I think that is very obvious and very evident to anybody that you're around. And so, Stacy, in your business, why is faith so important to you?
Well, I saw the evidence. I saw the evidence of how it shifted my own mindset, my own happiness, my own joy. When I took the pressure of looking at myself, and that's the reason I'm here at this podcast, is because I'm trying not to look at myself and trying to provide, encouragement for people, and just what does it look like to have faith first in your business? It makes it so much simpler. The decisions are made for you. All you have to do is be obedient, listen, pray over the situations, and then have confidence in the decision. And I think I have so much more joy. I don't stress. I don't worry about, am I doing the right thing? Because he's in control.
One of the first things you said to me is you gave your business to the Lord. Mm-hmm. And that really touched my heart, because you took it a little bit further, which was really encouraging to me, because you said, so when God brings people into my business, I'm okay with that. And when God takes people out of my business, I'm okay with that, because it's not my business. It's His.
It's His business.
And so they aren't leaving me, they're going somewhere else. And it's up to the Lord to lead my business. And I thought, well, that's the place I want to be.
Yeah, because, as a broker, I've had people come, I've had people go, and it's when you put all the pressure on yourself, then it's your fault that they left. But it's not. Sometimes God has us in people's lives to be a stepping stone, to be that person that gets them to that next level, and maybe open their own brokerage or have their own team. And I think it just took so much pressure off of me, because I saw my mother and dad go through many hurts and just painstakingly breakups, because you're breaking up, when that happens. And you don't have to break up and have a bad experience. You can break up and be very encouraging and life-giving.
So you get to choose, right? You get to choose every day when you wake up, what your attitude is going to be like, if you're going to have joy, how you're going to deal with circumstances. So what do you guys do? Danielle, I'll start with you. What do you do in the morning? How do you begin your day, and why is that important?
Coffee. I don't think I could get through it without coffee. Actually, typically before coffee, it's the Lord. We spend time, and it's nice if we have a cup of coffee while we're having our time with the Lord. But giving the day, each and every day, to the Lord is really what makes our walk possible.
Mm-hmm. And I think there's a term for that. It's called letting go of the vine. And Stacy, I've heard you talk about this, and you say at points that you get frustrated, and sometimes the day doesn't go as planned, and
really
and you let it go. I see you do that. I see you find that joy during the day. So how do you begin your day, and how do you begin that mindset that's so important?
Yes. So my husband gets up at 4:30, and I don't get up at 4:30, but I get up around 6:30, and I literally leave all the lights off. And I, of course, go into devotion, and then I read scripture. There's a couple apps I read, and then I listen to the scripture, and I just have truly fallen in love with yearning for more of that. And so I look forward to my morning to do that. It's not a duty. But then, the next thing I do before I even my feet hit the ground is I look at my calendar. As you both know, we've set up many appointments together, and if it's not on my calendar, I don't show up. So I have to be very intentional on my calendar of the day, and I have to really prioritize what that day looks like, and I do that in a quiet space, and I do that after I've had my coffee, after I've had my time with the Lord, and then I become grateful. I try to, whenever I am stressed or I see an email that's a little challenging, I really just turn back to what's important.
Yeah, that's great. And again, I see that in you, and I see you walk through the office, and I see you say hi to people, and you always have that joy on your face, and I think that's so important. And so this business, it doesn't matter if you're new or if you've been in the business 3 or 4 years. There are days that are very challenging, and there are days that it's lonely, right? But you guys have seemed to find a way to turn that into such a positive thing. So how would you, Stacy, encourage a new agent or a veteran agent or even a broker today that's just, they go through a bad day or they're having a bad day? What would you say to them? How would you encourage them today? Because you're the encourager.
Yeah.
How would you encourage them?
So I would tell them to take the light off of themselves and look at the situation and really hyper focus on the other person. Try not to try not to, like, I've had an agent that had a bad experience with another agent, and she turned and got very defensive. And defensive is not in the game plan of real estate. We are people of service, and people of service are not defensive. They're there to provide encouragement. They're there to provide a service. They're there to answer their questions and be honest and trustworthy. So I would tell them, and I had to tell her this, is like, this isn't about you. This is the way that person is acting to you is not about you. So you need to go in there and treat her with respect, love on her, pray for her, and just really turn the table onto how can I help better communicate with this person? How can I speak her language to where this real estate transaction can actually be successful? Because defense never works.
That's great. It's good words. Danielle, this is a business, and I see you treat it as a business. So what would you say to an agent about the day, right? How do you treat the day from a business perspective? What are the things that you have to do to be successful?
Well, it's easy for me, especially, to work in my business, which means I get in front of the computer and I'm looking at the transaction and what I need to do. But I think the encouragement I would give another agent, because I'm trying to encourage myself at the same time, is you need to work on your business every day. There are probably 5 things that you need to do to keep your pipeline filling up so that you do have those transactions. So you need to be out of your comfort zone and meeting other people in arenas outside of the office, for sure. Building those relationships that may not end in a transaction this month, but you're looking into the future of when it will become a transaction.
Yeah, that's good. It's good. Stacy, you're great at this as well. I see you. I see your calendar and I see your day, and you're very tactical about where you spend your time. Again, how would you encourage a new agent or an agent about constructing your day in a way that you're going to be successful?
Yes. So I think you really, really need to be intentional in the morning, like you said, and you're working on your business, and then time blocking is really good. And then I would always suggest an agent. I say, who are you eating lunch with? Who are you having coffee with? If you don't have to have coffee with agents, but you need to have coffee with lenders and title companies and other people in the industry that can complement your business, and build those relationships. It's all relationship. It's the real estate does not come knocking on your door.
That's true.
You truly have to, and this is one of our episodes, Bill. I hope you tune in, and it's one that I'm very passionate about, and that's teaching people how to get in other people's sandbox.
I knew we were going to say sandbox.
Yes, got to get in other people's sandbox. And the only way you can learn what other people need is if you stop thinking about yourself, and you really truly turn all your efforts, all your priority on that person. And if that's having lunch with one of my agents, I really want to hear like what's working for you, what's not working for you. How can we as a brokerage be better? I think that's very important, and I think the agents they need to always be doing their business, whether they're working out or they're at Walmart. You always are working your business while you're having life, and that's what's fun about real estate is you can be at a baseball game. And I asked one agent one time, I said, what's the one thing you do the most? And she says, I love to go to church. I go to church a lot. I have a lot of family friends, or not family and friends that go to church with me. And I said, do you wear your name tag and then take it off when you get, strategic, right? You don't wear it through church, but you wear it and then take it off. And people are like, oh, you're in the real estate business. She said, oh, I would never do that. I was like, okay, so I'm just going to tell you what's going to happen. I said, there's going to be a little old lady sit beside you on the pew, and she's not going to ever know that you're in real estate, and she's going to make a phone call to another realtor and list property, and you're going to be really upset because your neighbor at the pew listed with somebody else. And it happened like 2 weeks later. She comes to me and she's like, how did you know that? And I was like, because it happens all the time. It happens to all new agents. So I think it's really important that we express that we have pride in being a realtor. We are not salespeople. We are service, relationship, connecting people. That's what we do.
It's really, really good. Stacy, I want to ask you about how you develop the culture in your organization, and it starts at the top. So it starts with you and the other leaders. And so there was a moment, and I've heard you talk about this, there was a moment where you made a decision that this business belongs to the Lord, and you gave it away, and you approach every day that way. Then how do you get that mindset into the culture of your organization? You've done a great job at that, but how did you do it?
It probably shifted right after I gave the business to the Lord. I had an office meeting, and I don't reward my agents for production because I don't look at the numbers, to be honest. Like, I really truly believe that if you're there for the right reason and that you're there to serve and to give, then you're going to be successful. So basically, one office meeting, I asked everybody 3 questions. And of course, I had, gifts for these folks. And basically, I said, what have you done for yourself this last month? What have you done have you read a new book? Did you get baptized? Have you started a new workout program? Have you started your graduate realtor institute classes? And people raised their hand and they got to speak like, this is what I did for myself, and they were like, okay, so I gave the gift. And then the next one was, what have you done for the community? What are you doing to give back to the community? And so that's something that we are huge on in our office, is that we're involved in nonprofits, that we're involved in helping other people in the community that we serve them. And they all raised their hand. And of course, there was a couple that were in 3 or 4 nonprofits. And so they were rewarded for that. And then the last one was, how are you giving to your teammates? What have you done in the last month that has helped somebody else in the office succeed? And I had a few people raise their hand, and then they all said, well, I did this, I did that. And then I had like 5 people raise their hand and say, that person didn't raise their hand, but this is how they helped me. This is what they did for me to help me succeed in my business. And that was the transformative part of our company, is that I showed them the value in giving. The Lord showed them, and He just used me there to do that. So
Danielle, I want to talk about something very important to both of you. It's kind of what ignited this thing, exploded this thing, and where the podcast began was really family. Family's real important to both of you. Danielle, so how do you, as busy as you are and all the things you have going on, how do you intentionally make sure that you're still loving on your family, loving on your kids, loving on your grandkids? I know it's important. How do you manage all that?
Well, I think a lot of people will get into real estate because they say, oh, it's the flexible schedule. And I'm like, yeah, it is. It really is, because you get to pick which 70 hours in that week that you work. And so I have to prioritize. And really, I'm a list person, which we will all discover before long because I have it with me at all times. So I put my grandkids on my list. Each of them has a day that I hope to spend some time with them. Today it's some of my younger ones, and when I get finished with my work, that is where I'm going to be. So I think you have to prioritize it. I do believe that family is important. In fact, C.S. Lewis said that family is not what you do. It's really your most important work. Everything else pales in comparison, because if you're not spending time with your family, then why are you even working? What's it all for? And so I think you have to prioritize that time. That people talk about work-life balance, and I'm not really sure that's a real thing. I think it's intertwined, and there's not a balance beam wide enough for you to really balance everything that you have to do. So you have to make it work. You might be working while you're holding one of your grandkids, or you may be talking to someone while you're also encouraging your family. So it's just all one important ball of wax.
Stacy, what about you?
So as I said before, my parents started the company, so I worked for my mom and dad. Family was business. Business was family. And everybody's like, how do you do that? How did you do that for so many years? And it was such a joy, because my parents set a culture that we were to be good to each other. We were to not speak over each other. We're supposed to respect and show integrity for family members. And so it was just always ingrained in me. And what's so important and special about that is it's gone to the next generation. So my daughter, Danny, is the analytical, compliant one of the two of us, and she is my also a partner in my company, and she and I work together on a daily basis, and it's just. But like I said before, when the pressure's not on you and it's on, and her alignment is the same, then her and I can come to decisions very simply. In that, so I have to say, of course, I'm looking for the fourth generation. I'm hoping one of my grandkids, one of my 14 grandkids, will take the lead and be fourth generation Lynch in our company. But I just think that it's always been a part of our life. So I don't know that I can differentiate one from the other. Oh, and my husband's getting his license. He's retiring, so he's coming to work for us too.
Yes, he is.
Yeah.
Yes, he is. Yeah.
Yes.
So you find yourself, you're talking about family, you're talking about real estate. You start your morning, kind of, when you're in the business. So Danielle, like you and I, we talk about real estate all the time, and we talk about family, and all those things are important. But real estate's just part of the conversation. It's just what we do.
Well, it's fun when it's your passion and you enjoy doing it. I mean, a lot of times it seems every conversation ends up turning into something about real estate. And lots of times we go to bed talking about real estate. But that's not a bad thing because we love it. And I think people see that we're joyful and we love helping other people. And I think in our business, it really has taken a turn because as our friends haven't seen us pushing our business on them, but they see that we love it and they see that passion because it's what we do, that many of our friends have become clients because they see that joy and that drive and that we work hard.
I would characterize both of your spirits as joyful, and I think people do see that, and I think it does. It rubs off, and people want that. They want to, they want a piece of that. And how do I get that in my life? So, right now, there's an agent out there that is thinking about quitting this business. They've started it. They haven't been encouraged. They don't have the tools, but they're thinking about quitting the business. They went through all this to get their license. Stacy, what would you say to that person?
So I would ask them questions. I probably would take them aside, take them to lunch, get into a social atmosphere where they don't feel like it's an interview or something, but just really listen to them and then come up with solutions. Let's try 5 things. Let's try 5 or 6 things. If we can do these few things and we can see momentum or we can see growth, then hopefully that will help you, encourage you to stay in the business. And a couple of those would be, a mentor. I've been in different business models. We've been ERA, we've been boutique brokerage, we've been Century 21, and now we're with EXP. And I just feel like that it's really important that these agents have a mentor. And it's mandatory with some brokerages, some it's not. And so I'm going to tell you the difference night and day, is that if there's a mentor in your life for those first 3 transactions, 4 transactions, it's so overwhelming for agents, new agents. There's so much information thrown at you that you weren't really expecting. And you get lost. You get lost in the contracts. You get lost in what your purpose is. And so I try to bring them back to what's your purpose and why did you try this in the first place? Was it freedom? Was it financial stability? Was it, serving others? I can find out really quickly after interviewing with somebody or having a conversation if their heart's in the right place.
Yeah.
Because it's not an easy job. It's a very difficult job to be in. And you have to get up on days when you don't want to anymore because you kind of got beat up the day before. And I think that's important. And I would, I'd have them pray over it. And I think the last ditch effort would be get a part-time job. I don't recommend that, but there's several people that start out that in our office, and you do business with him, and he got a part-time job, but he was so passionate about real estate that he still shows up on days that he's not working at the other job, and he's got his first closing, and he's on to several more. And you've seen his behaviors. You see what he does, and his behaviors are excellent. But they're behaviors right now, and it takes time for those behaviors to turn into transactions.
Danielle, part of the reason I heard you say that you started the podcast, or you went to Stacy and you decided together to do this podcast, was to encourage other people. That was, real important, is to be an encouragement for other people. So what would you say to encourage somebody that is just kind of down right now? They're not feeling it.
Well, I have a few stories that I can share with them, because there are days when I'm like, why, what in the world have I got myself into? But I think when you can share with them something that came out of left field, we know the Lord can throw you a blessing, and you have to be there to catch it. And there's a lot of them out there. So I would first ask them, ask them about their day. What are they doing to encourage others or encourage themselves? And I'm going to just echo what Stacy said, because you really have to be always bettering yourself, educating yourself. And in those moments, you can, sometimes things just happen, and you have to be ready for them. Stick it out. If you're committed to it, I ask them, do you feel like the Lord led you into this industry or into this job, they may be calling it at the time? And if that's the case, then who are they to second guess that? If you let God do to your business what He wants to do in you and in your business, it's going to be successful. But it takes commitment. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's not something that's going to happen overnight. As we know, as you look at statistics, I think we've mentioned before that 80% of agents don't make it to that second year, to their renewal process. But that 20% that do, it compounds. If you can find one victory this quarter, let it build into 3 victories next quarter, and before you know it, you're in your 3rd or 4th year of business and your pipeline is full. So don't give up on yourself or on real estate so quickly. Mm-hmm. There are people out there in this world, many of the successful people, part of their success, maybe a major part of their success, was because they stuck out the tough times. And many of those are in our very
organization.
Yeah, our very industry.
Mm-hmm. Commitment is a big word, and mm-hmm. I want to thank you two for making the commitment to do this podcast. You both have a lot on your plate already, and to do this, to begin this, and to be that encouragement, to share your faith, to share your stories, to give these tools. It was never about you. It was always about the person that's listening. And so I appreciate that about you. Your hearts are amazing. Your joy is amazing. So thank you for allowing me to come and just kind of open that up a little bit, because I really want people to know you and understand why you're doing this podcast. It's a true blessing. And I know you're getting blessed, because that's how that transaction works. But you did this to be a blessing to others. So thank you for that.
Appreciate that.
Well, do you have any other questions for us? Or
I don't. I mean, I do, but
I would like to add one thing, because I don't know that I hit the question hard enough, was the fact that how do we get out of our comfort zone, and what do we do? What are we doing to grow ourselves? And agents, when they come to us and they're downtrodden and they're confused and not guided, don't know what their next step is. I truly believe that you have to partner up with people. You have to really go find somebody that has ask questions. Go call, ask. Get 6 people on your list. Call every single one of them until somebody answers. Ask a question. Make sure that you're going to your training, and just make sure you're getting out of your comfort zone, and have an accountability partner. And I want to say that Danielle has been the best accountability partner for me in this podcast. I mean, I'm 60 years old, and people are like, why are you starting a podcast? It's like, because I don't want to stop learning. I want to make sure that I'm continuing to do things that make me very uncomfortable. And I truly believe that Danielle's been my blessing, because she has gotten me out of my comfort zone and got us on camera, and we're here today.
Yeah, it's not easy.
That's great. Thank you again, guys.
Yes, thank you, Bill. Until next time, be blessed in real estate.